what is the percentage of total vaccinations that have been deployed?
Well, I think we get the vast majority, like is going on in some industries and some schools, 97, 98%.
That was former Vice President Joe Biden saying something completely stupid and really ridiculous. And I'm your host, TJ Evans, and this is the TJ Evans Show. How many of you out there are just sick of COVID? Just show of hands real quick. I mean, well, since I'm talking to a camera and you're looking at this on your phone or your computer, just like the video, hit subscribe, and the bell for notifications. Also, drop a couple comments down below. I'm over COVID. Just completely. I believe my family is too. And it's not that we don't believe that it's real, because everyone on the planet knows that it's real. But we just don't believe that it's as serious as news anchors and politicians want to tell us. Why? Well, because we can read and we can actually look at the science that other researchers have done. But former Vice President Joe Biden isn't having it. And a couple of weeks ago, I know you heard him say that he's running out of patience.
Many of us are frustrated with the nearly 80 million Americans who are still not vaccinated, even though the vaccine is safe, effective, and free. My message to unvaccinated Americans is this: what more is there to wait for? What more do you need to see? We've made vaccinations free, safe, and convenient. The vaccine has FDA approval. Over 200 million Americans have gotten at least one shot. We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin.
That was a little threatening. And I don't like when the President of the United States says, we're running out of patience. And I don't like the fact that he lied about saying that he wasn't going to do a mask mandate. And now this is what he's trying to push, and trying to use his weight as the president to make corporations do the same thing. And it's terrible. And if you don't think he said that he wasn't going to do mask mandate, well, you know.
No, I don't think it should be mandatory. I wouldn't demand it be mandatory, but I would do everything in my power. Just like I don't think masks have to be made mandatory nationwide. I'll do everything in my power as President of the United States to encourage people to do the right thing, and when they do it, demonstrate that it matters.
And people wonder why people are confused about COVID. Well, a couple of reasons. One is everybody's cheering on the vaccine that was pushed by Donald Trump, and now our vice president says that she is going to take the vaccine. But last year, when Trump is the one who pushed out the vaccine, because this is actually the Trump vaccine, she wasn't hearing it.
If the public health professionals, if Dr. Fauci, if the doctors tell us that we should take it, I'll be the first in line to take it. Absolutely. But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
I will not take his word for it. He wants us to inject bleach. No, I will not take his word.
Or maybe because we keep hearing different things about how many shots we need and what is fully vaccinated, or the science that we're supposed to believe in just keeps changing. Maybe it could be also we can't have a conversation about it. Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they all will ban actual conversations to try to get to the bottom of it. And usually there's a reason why people don't want to talk about it. It's because once you actually have a true and honest conversation, you can usually come up to the truth. And we can actually probably compromise. Like, I believe that the people on the right have made a compromise saying if you want to get the vaccine, you should get the vaccine, especially when the president that I supported pushed it through. And if you have to wear a mask in certain settings, you should wear a mask. But these aren't the things that's going to save your life. But another reason, now this is what I believe, that it may be a little confusing for people about COVID, is one, we can't speak about the origins of it. And number two is because the man who is leading in the war against COVID, Dr. Fauci, he's a liar and has admitted to being a liar a few times.
When people were saying, you don't really need to wear a mask. Well, the reason for that is that we were concerned, the public health community, and many people were saying this, were concerned that it was at a time when personal protective equipment, including the N95 masks and the surgical masks, were in very short supply. And we wanted to make sure that the people, namely the healthcare workers, who were brave enough to put themselves in harm's way to take care of people who were infected with the coronavirus and the danger of them getting infected, we did not want them to be without the equipment that they needed.
We're going to get back around to COVID at the end of the episode because we really had to talk about what the FDA did when they decided to ban a therapeutic that could save the American people. Thank you, China. Appreciate you releasing this pandemic on the world. Good job. But guess what? That's neither here nor there because I'm not here to discuss that right now. We're going to circle around back to it. What I want to talk about is the federal government. Do you actually think that they're doing a good job? Have you ever been to the DMV? Have you ever said, it was fun at my trip at the DMV? It was easy breezy, ain't nothing happened. No? Well, guess what? The DMV is a hand in the federal government. Have you said, you know what, the Postal Service is an A1 group. I don't need anything from FedEx, Amazon, or UPS. No, you haven't said that. Why? Because you know the Postal Service is ran by the government and they do bad at their job. Funny thing about the Postal Service, this whole mandate that Joe Biden want to come out with, they're excluded from it. Why are they excluded from it? When they actually are the ones who come across Americans each and every day, 600,000 strong in their group. Well, unions and all about that money. But the federal government, they run the show. And they always do a bad job. And it is showing more and more each and every day, especially with how they're being run by the higher ups, because that's who's really messing it up. Specifically in a group called, let's say, the Federales. They were founded by J. Edgar Hoover. We're not going to go on the history of how bad he was at his job, but they're continuing the tradition. I know you've heard about the Olympic team who's pressing charges on their former coach, Larry Nassar. And if you haven't seen it, here's a clip of Michaela Maroney speaking about how bad of a job this Bureau of Investigations in failure did.
Thank you, Chairman Durbin, Ranking Member Grassley, and members of the Judiciary Committee for inviting me to speak today. As most of you are probably aware, I was molested by the U.S. Gymnastics national team and Olympic team doctor, Larry Nassar. And in actuality, he turned out to be more of a pedophile than he was a doctor. What I'm trying to bring to your attention today is something incredibly disturbing and illegal. After telling my entire story of abuse to the FBI in the summer of 2015, not only did the FBI not report my abuse, but when they eventually documented my report 17 months later, they made entirely false claims about what I said. After reading the Office of Inspector General's OIG report, I was shocked and deeply disappointed at this narrative they chose to fabricate. They chose to lie about what I said and protect a serial child molester rather than protect not only me, but countless others. My story is one in which Special Agent in Charge Jay Abbott and his subordinates did not want you to hear, and it's time that I tell you. In the summer of 2015, like I said, I was scheduled to speak to the FBI about my abuse with Larry Nassar over the phone. I was too sick to go meet with anyone in person, and talking about this abuse would give me PTSD for days. But I chose to speak about it to try and make a difference and protect others. I remember sitting on my bedroom floor for nearly 3 hours as I told them what happened to me. I hadn't even told my own mother about these facts, but I thought, as uncomfortable and as hard as it was to tell my story, I was going to make a difference, and hopefully protecting others from the same abuse. I answered all of their questions honestly and clearly, and I disclosed all of my molestations I had endured by Nassar to them in extreme detail. They told me to start from the beginning. I told them about the sport of gymnastics, how you make the national team, and how I came to meet Larry Nassar when I was 13 at a Texas camp. I told them that the first thing Larry Nassar ever said to me was to change into shorts with no underwear because that would make it easier for him to work on me. And within minutes, he had his fingers in my vagina. The FBI then immediately asked, "Did he insert his fingers into your rectum?" I said, "No, he never did." They asked if he used gloves. I said, "No, he never did." They asked if this treatment ever helped me. I said, "No, it never did." This treatment was 100% abuse and never gave me any relief. I then told the FBI about Tokyo the day he gave me a sleeping pill for the plane ride to then work on me later that night. That evening, I was naked, completely alone, with him on top of me, molesting me for hours. I told them I thought I was going to die that night because there was no way that he would let me go. But he did. I told them I walked the halls of Tokyo Hotel at 2 a.m. at only 15 years old. I began crying at the memory over the phone, and there was just dead silence. I was so shocked at the agent's silence and disregard for my trauma. After that minute of silence, he asked, "Is that all?"
I mean, can you believe it? It took 17 months for them to actually follow through with her claim. If you don't know the history of Larry Nassar, let me tell you the accusations that was going up against him was featuring 156 women, young girls who were molested, sexually assaulted by him. And the FBI had the opportunity to stop it, but instead of doing their job, and I'm not saying that the complete bureau is a sham. I'm saying that the people at top, people who actually run the show, aren't doing a good job. They had 17 months to file this claim, and within those 17 months after Michaela came out and spoke about this, 40 other women were assaulted. How is this even possible? And I know you're saying, well, this is just one time. The FBI has been very successful at their job, but really, have they? Because the wins that they have seem like they've been staged. Let's take, I don't know, the Parkland shooter, who, if the FBI would have actually did their job, would have been caught because he was already in their system under radar, and they said, nah, he's not such a bad guy. Maybe we'll let him go, and he ended up getting guns and shooting up an elementary school. Another instance that happened was the Post nightclub shooting. If you remember this, it happened in Florida, Orlando, Florida, where an individual was distressed. It was also an Islamic terrorist, and he shot the whole club. The FBI had this man under their radar and decided to say, you know what? We don't need to investigate him anymore. He's not a threat. What happened? He kills a lot of people. The FBI is really, really bad at their job. And this whole instance with the United States gymnastic team shows it even more. And I'm glad these women came about and came forth and said, you know what? Somebody needs to be held accountable, because that's what the American people need. They need individuals, citizens who come up and say, something's not right here. And there are more instances where the FBI has not done their job. It's happened with the Boston bombing. They had a chance to shut that down. They didn't do it. They rather take easy wins saying the insurrection, quote unquote, of January 6th. They rather take that as a win where one individual was shot by an officer, other than actually investigating what happened during the Black Lives Matter protests where cities burned down. $2 billion in damage, and the FBI doesn't want to investigate that. They rather turn their department into a group of individuals who only care about racism. But that happens more than just in the FBI. It's all across the federal government. We're ran by bureaucrats. We're ran by people who we did not elect. Just like individuals like Dr. Fauci. Who elected Dr. Fauci? I didn't. He's the only individual from the Trump administration that actually kept their job, and nobody thinks that's weird. We let him lead the way for COVID, but he doesn't even know what he's talking about. He didn't know what he was talking about with HIV. He thought it was airborne. We need to hold individuals accountable, just like in this instance with General Milley. If you don't know about General Milley is the leader of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and his story is kind of treasonous. I'm not even gonna lie. He has a report coming out that's saying that he conversed with a Chinese general saying that he would inform this general of China about any attack that America would do on China ahead of time. And this happened right after the January 6th riots or insurrection or whatever you want to call it, protest. I don't even care because guess what? Only one person died, but I digress. He said that he was going to inform China. China. When did America get cool with China? It probably happened when Joe Biden got in office, but I digress. What he did was treasonous, and we needed to hold him accountable to it. And if he doesn't go to prison, then I know something is wrong. But this is the federal government. These are bureaucrats who are holding office who we did not elect. Another group in the federal government that we need to talk about. I'm not talking about the CDC or the USDA or any of these other groups. I mean the FDA. The FDA, for some reason, seem like they're in cahoots with the CDC and the World Health Organization. I find it kind of strange that they had changed the law on this specific supplement called NAC. If you don't know what NAC is a drug that was used for, bronchial diseases like pneumonia or the flu. It pretty much helped clear people up. Not only that, but it also helped people who were professional wine tasters because it was a protection for the liver. They changed this drug at the clinical test. They changed this drug into a supplement. One of the rare supplements that actually worked for the people. You were able to get this on Amazon, Walmart, go to the drugstore, get this for $5. It was available for the people. Well, for some reason, when NAC started showing signs to help during COVID, actually help with symptoms and things like that, the FDA did the unprecedented thing and said, no, it's a drug now. Isn't that kind of weird? For them to turn something that they said was a drug, turn it into a supplement, and then actually, after it helped during this pandemic where people should be running to find any type of medicine and therapeutic, since it's as dangerous as they say it is, we should be looking for anything to help with the science because there's no settled science. We should be probably looking at something like NAC to help us. But instead, the FDA said, nah, it's no longer a supplement. It's now a drug. Now you need a prescription. Now the price on it is going to go from $5 to probably around $35. Isn't that kind of weird? Especially when the government is trying to bribe you to take the vaccine, to get the jab. Even where I'm at right now, they're giving away $100 gift cards to take the jab. And again, I'm telling you right now, I'm not saying don't take the vaccine. Do your own research, okay, on it. I know people like Joy Reid wants to shut down anybody who has anything to say questioning this vaccine. Matter of fact, I just want to show you what Nicki Minaj said about the vaccine because it's kind of funny how you get your head bit off about this whole situation. I just want to show you what Nicki Minaj said. Simple concept.
Not one of those people that y'all are going to be able to do this with, sweetheart. Okay? See, the minute you guys started going this hard is when this seemed strange to me. Like, and I'm not talking about the representative that Joe and Sal spoke to today. I'm talking about just the Democratic Party in general and so many people jumping at the chance to, okay, well, we can't make fun of the actual story anymore and talk about testicles and balls till they drop dead and make that a joke. So now we have to attack her personally. I want you guys to see what is happening. 80% of the artists that y'all following right now feel like I feel about the vaccine and are too afraid to speak on it. And guess what they're doing right now? If they assassinate me and assassinate my character and make me look crazy or stupid, guess what? No one else will ever ask questions again.
But in closing, do you believe in the federal government? Do you believe that the government has your best interests at heart? And if so, let me know why. Drop a comment down below. And if you like this video, and if you support the things that we do, and if you support just independence entirely, subscribe to the page, hit the notification button, like the video, man. For real. Communicate with us. Drop a couple comments. I'm your host, TJ Evans, and this is the TJ Evans Show.